and welcome to the Regenerative Revolution. I'm Jackie Searcel, and I'm here with David Braden and Christine Webster, and we are working on the Cook and the Gardener project. It's an exciting program where people learn how to do regenerative gardening in other people's lawns. And so we are working out exactly how to get this started. We have a couple of gardeners and a few homeowners already signed up and doing this, and we are now having regular meetings together to figure out how to expand this and make it catch on, and also figure out how to incorporate it. We've been working on this for several months now, and we have this team. We're actually waiting on one other member to join us. Hank Riesling should be with us momentarily. And today we're going to be starting out with a governance meeting, talking about the structure of the organization, and then hopefully we'll get through that and have time to do a tactical meeting and be able to get an update on where we're at on the ground with actually gardening. So we are going to start out with a check-in. Let's start with Christine. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Back on Mountain Time after about a week on Central Time in Texas on a road trip. Yeah, and it is almost April, so the bees will be buzzing a lot very soon. So I've been gearing up for that.
Awesome. Thanks. And David, you?
Yeah, I've been doing really well. I've got some more information that I'll be providing in the project status issue, but we've been doing some tours. I've been building some gardens. I planted some more tomatoes today, so it's been a positive couple of weeks here since we last met.
Awesome. And I'll do my check-in while Hank gets connected here. So yeah, these last couple weeks I've been doing more work on the ground with gardening. I started working in another community garden that just got started. And it was kind of funny. I showed up and like nobody knew anything about gardening, so I ended up kind of orchestrating everything. Yeah. But it's going good. It's a good space, and yeah, I just have a lot more people now who are interested in gardening. And when I tell them about an idea of starting a gardening cooperative, then they get really excited. So I mean, one of the things I want to talk about is maybe connecting what I'm doing here with what you're doing there. Sorry. And hopefully I get my tongue untied soon. I'm feeling a little tongue-tied today. Let's see. Hank, you there?
Hey.
Hey. We can hear you.
How's it going, Jackie?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am in safe driving mode right now.
I see. You on the road?
Not purposefully, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, I see. There you are.
Okay. Yeah, hi. I'm sorry that I'm running late. I was looking at the Central Time. Are we live?
Yeah, we just went live. We were just doing a check-in. Is there anything else you want to say for a check-in?
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. I listened to most of your meeting from 2 weeks ago, and I'm really glad that I listened to that before our meeting today, because I thought that the tactics and a lot of what y'all were talking about was really important to what we're doing. So I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, thanks. Cool. So yeah, we'll start out the governance meeting by building an agenda. So with a governance meeting, we're talking about things pertaining to the structure of the organization. We're using holacracy loosely here. And holacracy, usually governance meetings are focused on policies and roles, defining policies and roles. Although we're still in the stage of designing the organization itself. So I would put that in this category as well, things about incorporation, financial legal structures, that sort of thing would make sense to discuss in a governance meeting. So does anybody have anything along those lines that they'd like to talk about today?
Well, I think we need to talk about the role of the lead gardener and the fact that I probably stepped on Hank's toes here in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
So
Okay, let's just put it on the agenda and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Okay. And then I want to talk about connecting what I'm doing here in Norman to what you guys are doing. Like, is it the same cooperative or are we just like doing similar things? I'm not really sure. I'm still in the ideation phase. So I just want to talk to you guys about where I'm at. Yeah, I don't know. Norman Co-op. Okay, anything else that we want to add to the agenda? No. Okay, so let's go back to David's thing. What was the lead gardener role?
Okay, so I'm just going to give you that, also include the status update on where we are on gardeners and homeowners. So I had 3 new gardeners sign up. One of them was through the Denver Permaculture Group, I think. The other 2 came through our Facebook, and I think, Christine, you must have posted something on our Facebook page that said we have homeowners that are wanting to hire gardeners. So the first one, Mike McDaniel, I put in touch with Leo Kassinger because Mike is in Virginia Village, which is just south of Glendale. And Leo Kassinger is right there in that same neighborhood. Leo is a board member, and he expressed an interest in hiring a gardener this year. So I put the 2 of those together. Then I had 2 more come through the Facebook, Chris Adams and Alonzo Ortiz. Chris, I put in touch with the lady, the foreman who had contacted me here in my neighborhood. I told him about all 3 of the outstanding homeowners that had asked for gardeners, and so I put he is in West Denver. I put him in touch with the Applewood homeowners here, and so we'll see how that goes. Then Alonzo I met with yesterday, and I put him in touch with Linda Eldridge, who is at Hampton and Monaco, and with Bonita Felden, who I can't remember exactly where she is, but she is on the board of directors for Homeowners Association. And then Hank, you also sent an email I saw to Linda this afternoon. So she might get a little confused, and so you and I need to be communicating a lot better about that. So that's my concern, is that I think you were a little bit, well, you're working full-time still, right? And you hadn't had a chance to do some of these contacts. So I went ahead and did them because I was talking to the potential gardeners, and I had to contact people looking for them. So that's, I think that's a governance issue that we need to work through.
Okay. So I guess, yeah, the question is, can David do that? Does David need some permission from Hank to jump in there, or is there something about one of the roles that David's holding that allows him to do that?
For me, I am working right now, and I've been working a little bit of overtime too, so I have been a little bit busy, and I agree, David, that I have to be in better communication with you about the clients, because it sounds like I jumped the gun, or I was a little late to respond to Linda, but then wasn't on the same page with you, and I think that it's I'm glad that you set up some homeowners and gardeners, and I don't see it as an issue for me. But.
Actually, looking at how we define the roles, it isn't an issue, because the coordinator role, which is held by David, it specifically says under accountabilities, connecting new homeowners with gardeners.
Yeah, but I should have at least blind carbon copied you, so that you knew that I had already put Linda in touch with another gardener. And so I'll do that in the future for sure.
And I should have responded earlier. I was a little bit hibernating this month, I think. So, but I'm looking forward to the season getting busier now.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't overlook the fact that you just reported on the most movement that we've seen on the Cook and Gardener project. 3 homeowners, 3 gardeners. That's great news, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another bit of news is I've been in contact with a gentleman by the name of Jason Baum, who I would have introduced you and Kim Massey, which is another homeowner. She's a permaculture person that I know for many years now. And I introduced her to Hank because they're both in the Edgewater area where Hank just moved. And Jason also lives in Edgewater and knows Hank through the city floral, I think is what you said. But Hank, I didn't include Jason in the email because he said he was having strep throat and I should get back, or he would get back to me as soon as he gets better. So my thought is that you and Jason could be like a hub in Edgewater and figure out a way. Jason is one of those people that makes friends with everybody wherever he goes. Have like an Edgewater hub where we can focus on bringing in new clients through direct contact rather than through the Facebook and that sort of thing. So that's my goal and my hope with that.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a great idea, and I have loved the conversations that I've had with Jason through working with him for a couple of days, and look forward to working with him more. And was gonna ask for his contact, but maybe after he's feeling better, setting up a time to meet with him and Kim.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's jump back up to wrap up this as a governance issue. So I do see that, you had the ability to, connect them, but you think you should have notified Hank. We could add that as accountability to this role, is to notify the lead gardener when new homeowners and gardeners are recruited or something.
Sure.
Do you want to do that?
I think that's an important thing to add.
Okay. Is there any feedback from Christine or Hank on that proposal?
No.
No. Any blocks? Hank, do you have an objection? Christine, do you have an objection?
No.
David, you don't have an objection. I don't have an objection. I'm adding it in. Notify lead gardener when new homeowners and gardeners are recruited or connected. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, so jumping back over to my notes then. Okay. So me, as I was saying, I've been doing a lot more gardening and meeting a lot more people who are into gardening, and almost all of them really like this idea of doing a gardening cooperative. And it's like, I want to be connected to you all, but I guess I want some kind of freedom to be creative in how I do it. And I think I just have some other ideas. So I guess I'll just kind of throw out kind of what I'm thinking right now, because it's really similar and it might mesh, but I'm not sure. So what I'm thinking about doing is a cooperative where everybody pays in $100 a month, including the gardeners, and anybody can come to these training days, which I would lead, and maybe it'd be a series of like 6 or 8 classes. And if you came to all the classes, then you would then be able to show up to a work day, like an apprentice basically, and help out, and you would get work trade. So any of the members, whether they're homeowners or not, could work trade off their dues, up to a certain point. So we would always keep some small percentage for our overhead. But anybody could do work trade. And then if somebody was going to work more than that, then they would become an employee and be paid in cash. So that's kind of one of the aspects that I'm thinking of. And then the other is just the name. I think everybody I've told about so far, I say, oh, well, one of my clients is doing it and he's calling it the Cook and the Gardener partnership. And they go, I don't like the name. So I think we might want to call it something different. But really, other than that, it's pretty much a similar idea, or even the same idea. So what do you guys think? Feedback.
Well, I think it's a great experiment and see if it can work. You don't need to be affiliated with the Living Systems Institute, although you're welcome to if you think the nonprofit tax status will assist you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to, be able to keep open the fact that we might have joint expenses, that we could share those expenses between what's happening in Colorado and what's happening in Norman.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my thoughts so far.
Mm-hmm. What about you guys? You have any feedback on those ideas?
Yeah, I agree with David. I think a matter of extending or growing the Cook and Gardener project to Norman would be amazing. Join forces, right? With all these like minds in the room right now, or build something separate that's similar and celebrates the same thing. I love that you're talking about requiring training. I think that's some of our struggle with the Cook and Gardener project is having very little requirement to get in and then very little accountability to stay in. And so I think that's why we've been just struggling a little bit. So I think using education as the gateway into securing members is such a great idea, Jackie. I applaud that. I think we should adopt that. That's where property tours and the orientations I've suggested come in. And that's just one very small way to get into that. But a series of classes, courses, hands-on experiences, or training is so great. And then thirdly, I've been thinking more about Cook and Gardener project partnership, like we're not even calling it what it's actually called. We're using it interchangeably, and we've already Jackie, I think you've already acknowledged that the cook's not here yet. We're not even ready for a cook, and people are confused by that. What's the cook? Where's the cook aspect? Where's the food? It's the gardener project. So with my brand in mind, I question the same thing. I don't know if David is open to doing that this late, or is it early in the game? I would consider it early, although we're so invested and used to calling it the Cook and Gardener project. But I think there's room for improvement there too, in a stronger name that is just concise and gets to exactly what the mission is. So the cook can come later, but I don't know that it necessarily needs to be in the name, especially if it's causing confusion. So that's my feedback, but it's Hank, what do you think?
I agree that the trainings and the paid trainings what I think is interesting about it is that you kind of have people have invested, if they've invested their money and discretionary time at the point in time in which they are now an active gardener looking to get involved, and maybe they have there's more of a reason to put more time into it. That's just kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm hearing you, Jackie, describe it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it would also include like a box of produce every week would be included with that $100. It would be literally CSA a share of the food. Yeah.
Either that wasn't mentioned or I missed that. But
I forgot to say
it. That's obviously an added value, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to you, David, hearing what they had to say, what do you think?
Well, I think I wasn't ready to make that commitment for a certain amount coming out of each relationship. I think in the way I've conceived it, each homeowner and gardener are a partnership that is a small partnership as a part of the larger partnership. And so the homeowner still has control over what they want to do with their property, some of which will be growing food, some of which will be building habitat. And I haven't worked through in my own mind even how exactly the sharing of the food that is produced is going to work. So I applaud the idea that it's a great experiment. I would love to see if it works, and then we might copy you. But I'm not sure that I'm ready to do it that way.
Okay.
And of course, we don't have. So that's where I am.
Yeah. So how about, like, I'm going to keep moving forward with it, and I'll keep you guys updated. And yeah, I'll just keep y'all updated with my progress, and we'll see where it goes.
And you'll let us know if we can help.
Yeah, for sure. And then I kind of want to add name as an agenda item really quick, because it sounds like Christine kind of agrees that maybe the name could use a little tweaking, and I wonder if maybe we could shorten it to the Gardener Project or something. If other people agree with that. Anybody? Hank?
David, this is your baby. You started this. How do you feel about renaming your baby? Changing its name, rather. Shortening it, that's all. It's a nickname.
Well, so the Cook and the Gardener is a description of the larger picture, and the cook part, or the gardener part of it is just the initial step. So, I have very little pride of authorship, and particularly in the case of naming, but because that's just the way my mind works. It's just a description of what we're talking about. It's not necessarily a name. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be even a tagline to a different name.
Sure. People don't like the High Plains Plant Propagation Cooperative either.
It's very long.
But that's what it is.
It is what it is.
I like naming things what they are too, for sure. But I really agree with Christine's point there that starting the name with the cook when that's not the focus of it at this point is a little confusing. But I mean, maybe you guys can mull it over, and if somebody comes up with a better idea, you can pitch it later.
Yeah, this definitely warrants thinking about. But first, because I'll definitely think on this. I can definitely put some time towards it, brainstorming, researching. But before I even do that, David, just to be clear, are you open to entertaining that?
Sure. And so let's think in terms of something in the neighbor of the change from traditional landscaping to regenerative landscaping, something in the neighborhood of in the nature of this relationship between the gardener and the homeowner, something like that. So it's the partnership part of it as opposed to I want to, when we get to redoing the website, actually, I've been thinking a lot about how do we introduce people to starting from the basis of these are the things that we can do as individuals to address the problems that our culture is facing. So how do we move from being concerned about climate change, for example, to actually doing something on the ground that's going to address climate change? I'm open to all sorts of, how can we be more effective at sharing the message? So.
Okay. Okay, cool. See, I just wrote down the cook may be confusing. Perhaps find a shorter name and use the Cook and the Gardener partnership as a tagline. We'll all keep thinking about it and come back to it later.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing some brainstorming with my people here on names. So maybe I'll just send you all of our name ideas.
That's a great idea. Yeah, we can all kind of reconvene before our next meeting, through email, whatever.
Okay, cool. So if nobody else has anything governance meeting wise, we could jump into tactical. Okay. So with the tactical meeting, we start with a checklist. So David, did you check in with the gardeners at the end of the month? It's kind of the new end of the month. Have you done that yet?
No, I haven't. We got 2 payments, but from 2 of our homeowners, and then I haven't had any reports from gardeners of actually having any work done. So I need to work on that communication as well.
Okay, so it's no and no as of yet. Okay. And then the metrics. So currently we have what, 5 gardeners?
We've had, so Hank and Stacy, and now Mike, Chris, and Alonzo. I guess that is 5, yeah.
And is it 5 homeowners?
I think we have a few more homeowners than that.
Oh yeah? How many is it?
And some of them have, Hank has 2 or 3 homeowners, right? You've got.
Active, and I have a meeting. I'm hoping to schedule a meeting with one of the Edgewater client that David you mentioned earlier this week, and I have a meeting tomorrow night in the Highlands, I guess, and I was actually gonna see if Jason was available for that, David, but maybe that's something we could talk about later, or if I don't know what his status is, and I don't have a contact for him yet.
We can I can send a joint email. Although I think we left it at he was going to contact me, but I'll check that.
Okay.
There might have been a time that he said to wait, but he didn't know about his strep throat, so.
Well, I mean, let's get specific on this metric. So how many homeowners are actually paying right now?
2 are paying.
Okay, and then you've got like what, another 5 interested or something?
Yeah. Sarah Kreider has paid and may be starting again. Then we have Kim Massey, Leo Kassenjar, who said they're willing to do this. And then we have Linda and Bonita. So what are we up to? About 6, right? 6 homeowners.
So 6 total?
Oh, and then Ethan McCutcheon, so we're up to 7. Right?
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool. Okay.
Was one of the ones that was paying, so. Okay, I'm confused. I'd have to add it all up.
All right. Okay, so that's good for metrics. So next is project updates. So David, you gave us some updates earlier, and I wrote it down. Mike, Alonzo, and Chris are new gardeners. You connected them with 3 homeowners, and you also connected Hank with Jason. Was there anything else that I missed from that? No. Okay, is there any other updates you want to give?
I've been debating about scheduling an event, and I was thinking about this weekend, but I'm going to get my second vaccine shot on Saturday, and Sunday is Easter. So I'm going to put it off for another week to set up another event. And what I was thinking, because all of our gardeners have different schedules, I have a new project I want to start here at LSI that would be essentially taking what is now yard and expanding an existing garden to take up that yard by building a Hugo mulch. And if I did that nice and slow and invited all the gardeners to come when they were available to come help me build that, then that would be available to them as a skills development when their timing was available. And I don't know, we could talk about making it some sort of requirement that, you know, if you want to be in the line for new clients that come up, you need to be showing up for the trainings, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to make a Hugel mulch garden, and are you saying you want to require?
I want to first make it available to everybody who's expressed an interest in acquiring new clients. And then we can talk about whether we want to make some sort of benefit for participating or make it a requirement in order to be eligible to take on new clients, something like that.
Okay, so is that a question you want to explore as an agenda item, maybe?
Sure, we could do that.
Okay. Okay. Requiring workshops. Okie dokie. Let's go over to Hank. What updates do you have for us?
Well, I think I mentioned this a moment ago, but I'm meeting with Sarah Kreider, one of our homeowner clients, tomorrow night. We exchanged emails or texts, and she said that she's got a lot of gardening help that she wants coming up, and she's looking for multiple gardeners potentially to help. So I know something that y'all talked about last week was having new gardeners or interested gardeners join me and other gardeners and gaining experience together. And so I think that tomorrow, even though it's a little late in the game, tomorrow is an opportunity for that, as well as I sent an email to another client, Kim, and I'm hoping to meet up with her. I sent her a few times, and I'm going to hear back with if those times work, but in the next week, and that would be a time maybe to have other gardeners come out as well. And I think that's all I have for updates at the moment.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so I think, let me just make sure I'm getting this right. So you're meeting with Sarah tomorrow to come up with a time to go out to her property and work?
I'm going out to her property tomorrow.
Oh, you are going
and,
out.
Yeah.
Okay, and
but yeah, we're gonna we'll be meeting to discuss her upcoming gardening plans.
Okay, which would include what, like setting up more times to work? Because you were saying that you could invite the other gardeners to come out.
Yeah, I mean she has the start of a hugelkultur bed in her backyard right now, and we've kind of, Sarah and I and David have all discussed a few different directions for that. So it's possible that we'll do some arranging or rearranging there, but also, yeah, coming up with a plan for what she wants to do for this spring.
So Sarah's the one where you suggested she has bad back, and you had suggested that we make seats for her in the middle of the garden where she could. I thought that was a great idea.
Okay, so you're just going to make a plan for the spring in general with her tomorrow. And then you also send an email to Kim to set up a time to go to her property?
That's right.
Yeah. And that's the one where you're saying you could get other gardeners to go with you.
Yeah, really either meeting. Just I guess if I was to reach out to gardeners right now and say, because I'm meeting with her tomorrow evening at 5:15, so if I was to say, if anybody's available that wants to come out and join me, that could be maybe not too late, 24 hours notice, but
Okay.
the meeting with Kim would be potentially a little bit more time. It's just how I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Okay. Do you want our input on this? Do you want me to put it as an agenda item to decide if you're gonna email everyone?
I guess this is just an update on what I'm doing.
You sound confused or iffy, so
okay.
Wondering if you need any support around that.
No, maybe I think now that we're talking about it, maybe I can just reach out to the active gardeners that we have, or
so let me make a suggestion. So Christine has suggested to me that instead of the 26 members on the email list, most of which are not active gardeners, that I put those onto our MailChimp list. And I was planning on doing that and then sending a newsletter to just gardeners and maybe to the just the homeowners as well. So if we did another email list that was just the active gardeners, just the gardeners that were expressing an interest in actually working with our existing clients, that'll be a smaller number of people.
Sure.
Just our 5 gardeners, I guess.
Yeah. What we're using for my garden is this app right here. It's GroupMe. There's a lot of apps like that. It's just another option. Could be to use a chat app that you can use on your phone instead of email.
Well, I might need a smarter phone to do that, but
true.
Anyway,
just an option.
We can talk about that further if you need to, because I don't know if you want to send an email to all 26 gardeners, most of which will never respond. So
okay. I'm going to cut this conversation off because this is a conversation which should go in an agenda item. So I'm just going to put, gardener discussion list as a agenda item. Okay, so that we can move on to Christine's updates. Christine, do you have any updates?
No, unfortunately. My last, I think what would help us in the future on these tactic, when we're revisiting tasks, I guess, and updates, is to kind of brush up on what we last discussed in our meeting. So I've been racking my brain trying to figure that out. Although if I had the Google Doc open, Jackie, that you work in, that might help. Anyway,
sure. But I could go down and read real quick what we talked about last time. So we had some action items for last time. One was Christine will contact gardener candidates this week. Did you reach out to the candidates?
I did, and it sounds like it was effective. We got 2 out of that list.
Okay.
Great.
Did contact prospects to contacted David. Something like that, right?
Say that again?
You did reach out to the candidates and 2 of them contacted David. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. And then it says Christine will announce Cook and the Gardener in Be Safe Neighborhoods mailing list.
Yes, that is still underway. My Be Safe Neighborhood mailing list, that is still underway, actually.
Okay, still working on Be Safe Neighborhood email. And Christine will create a slide/document to put up on the screen and share at the end of David's presentation.
Yes, David has that. By the way, this is conversation maybe for later. I was just reminded, though, would love to hear how David's presentation went. But yes, Jackie, I did provide that to David right after our last call.
Okay, did create slide for David. Okay. Let's go to David. Do you have an update on that?
yeah, the presentation was well received. I loved the slide. It worked out great. We had about 15 minutes of video. We had some discussion and questions that I was able to deal with. And then we had about 10 minutes at the end of my time to talk about the Cook in the Garden program. And that slide was just perfect because, of course, everything in the video was all brown. And the picture on the slide is my wife and my granddaughter in the midst of tomato plants.
In the lush greenery.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
And so I got some feedback from participants that they're definitely coming and planning on coming out and seeing our work this spring. So
Awesome. Sounds like a win to me.
Yeah. Well done, David.
Yeah.
Cool.
we only had about 15 people, but there, it was a nice weekend. It was the first nice weekend of the spring, the first 70-degree day, and there were a lot of different events going on. So,
Mhm.
We were happy to have those participants that we had.
Nice. Cool. Okay. And then I should give an update. As I said, this last couple of weeks I've been doing more like gardening, like taking on a new garden. And I have not yet gotten to creating a fundraising campaign for you guys yet. I still need to set that all up. Sorry. That's still on my to-do list.
Quite all right. I still have to-do lists too.
Yeah, it's on there though. Just had a lot of other things to take care of first. Okay, now going to the agenda. First is the question of requiring workshops for gardeners. Discuss.
So I think I expressed my thoughts. Do I have any feedback from the three of you about how that might be best introduced to the gardeners?
I'm for required workshops. And specifically the idea of kind of an ongoing project where people can come according to their schedules. If you're able to do that, David, I know that I'll want to come to the workshops as one gardener, and I'd imagine that other gardeners will as well.
Could it be like a requirement to come to at least one a month or something?
I can definitely set up that many projects, and with 5 gardeners, obviously, that would be easy enough to keep that going.
Or X number, like you have to attend, three of these meetings throughout the course of the year. Just something I think would be good education. Just to use an example, I would not place a hive on someone's property knowing that they would be taking care of it without some education on it. And I just think it's such a good barrier to the process, to the project, and a good way to facilitate, building a new relationship. I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my thought then is that I will send out an email to all the active gardeners, and we'll replace that email list from the one that has everybody that ever expressed an interest. So we're just dealing with the active ones, and I will express this idea that they can come and work with me on these specific projects. And also suggest that as they are setting up their appointments with their clients, they should communicate amongst themselves and maybe share experiences. Come help your fellow gardeners on specific projects somehow. And if you have more work than just $100 a month, of course, you can talk to each other about how you're going to share the fees and that sort of thing. I'm not sure how far I will get into it in the initial email. And you think I should say that we're going to set up an ongoing education program, and that we're going to expect them to participate and not get into any details yet, and see how it works, maybe. I guess that's where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think what will be key, David, is to make sure that there's some planning done in advance. What comes to mind right now is that making sure that you have dates secured for every day you would host a workshop, let's just call it a workshop for the time being, that those dates are secured. Maybe that goes up on the meetup calendar and or an Eventbrite calendar so that people can like reserve their spot and really commit to it. Having those dates set in advance would be great with an agenda and everything. So that come that day, it's all mapped out for you. And then the second thing is a tool to keep track of people's attendance too. If we were to require people to say, you know, attend 3 of these workshops over the course of the year, we ought to have a way to make sure that that's honored when they do actually participate.
Yeah, and so I understand what you're saying, but I was actually thinking of it the other way, is that I'm going to announce this project, and I'm going to expect each of the gardeners to participate in this project, but it's going to be open to their schedule. They have to contact me and say, I'm available this date, can we work on the project? And I'll say yes or no.
So do you just want gardeners one-on-one, or would you like to facilitate small groups of gardeners?
Either way, I just want to get gardeners out here talking to me.
Yep.
Asking questions, right?
Yeah,
now.
I hear you.
F5.
Yeah, I hear you. My opinion is that it will be more efficient for you, less of a headache for you, and less communication, which I know you'll be in favor of, to have instead of texting and emailing back and forth, is to just set the date and say you got to be here on this day of, I don't know, what is it about to be, April. And if you can't make April, that's okay. You can try for June. I don't know. I know that sounds a little bit rigid, but otherwise, you're just going to be dealing with a lot of correspondence. And I'm curious what everyone else here thinks, but because you're providing a free well, I don't know, entirely free. We talked about kind of a membership fee with Jackie's concept, but you're providing education to people and having a little bit of structure around that. You leave too much up to other people. I think people get generally paralyzed by decisions for things that they're only just interested in right now, right? If they have something to commit to, I think that will hold them more accountable. You leave too much planning to people, it might fall flat.
But for example, Hank is off Fridays and Saturdays now. And he, in his Fridays and Saturdays, he has to fit in all of his work with his homeowners. So I would want to be open to Hank to come over any Friday or Saturday that he is not working for his homeowners, and he and I can work on this particular project. I'll just do it slow.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other gardeners and what their availability is going to be. I think you said Stacy is working nights.
I mean, you could you could reduce the back and forth communication if you used some sort of a scheduling app like Doodle, and just, you know, blocked out all the times that you're available and then sent it out to everyone, and then they can just check the times that they can come. You can send the same Doodle poll to everyone, and they can just check the times that they can come, you know, and you can just block out the times that you're available.
And so we can.
And then if they don't respond quickly enough, then you got to follow up with that, like Jackie has to do with us.
That's true.
I think that's going to be more of a pain in the ass than David will want to deal with personally, or maybe offer it more than once a month, maybe every 2 weeks, like so that there's a little more flexibility. That's just my thought, though. Mm-hmm. There's so many ways we could.
I get Christine's point too. It might not work for everybody. Yeah.
I think Doodle's great, and And Christina, I totally hear what you're saying, that it could be a hassle to have everybody trying to come up with a time. Coming up with a time for things can be pretty difficult, I think.
It really can be.
Well, but see, I'm available most every day. So if you
That's
just
true.
tell me,
You are easy peasy.
then I can put off my grocery shopping and the trip to the bank in order to do this for you when you're available. But you know, I need to some way to stimulate the gardeners to actually make that commitment to tell me when they want to do it. And so you know, I see that that's potentially a problem as well.
So you're talking about just the 5 gardeners currently, or opening this up to the general public?
This is just the 5 gardeners. This would be training the
Oh,
people who are
okay.
actually doing the job. And then in addition to that, we'll set specific events which they can also attend those events. But those
Okay.
will have, I think we're still limited them to about 50 people or 15 people. And,
Yeah.
and
Well, if you're just juggling 5 people, that'll be easier. Maybe just one conversation up front. What day works for everyone? You get Friday or Saturday based on Hank's schedule. So that might be a little bit easier. But the just general public events for workshops that you would have to set.
And I agree with you on that. We're just talking about the specific training for active gardeners.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So maybe instead of calling it workshops, it's more like what would you call it? What?
Skill development. Training, required skill development. I don't know.
Training, or I'm just trying to think, when you have an apprentice, like, what's their time with you called? But anyway, training. Required training. Okay. So, okay. I feel like we didn't get all the details, though. Are you just going to send out an email then saying, hey, just tell me when you're available? Or did you want to try to use something like a doodle poll? How are you going to do this?
I think I'll just try it. I think I'll just try it with let me know when you're available in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, we'll try something more formal or more technology reliant.
Don't you just love coordinating, guys?
I know. It feels like it didn't used to be this hard. It's
because we have so many tools available. Well, I was just.
And now she's cutting out. You're cutting out a little, Christine. We're kind of laughing because just as you're talking about technology, you're cutting out.
Oh yeah, that is good. The timing.
Yeah.
There.
Are you still with us, Christine? Your image is frozen. We can't hear you. Oh no.
We might have lost her.
Yeah. I bet she's disconnecting and she'll reconnect. I bet. Okay. Well, we wait for her to come back. How about moving on to the next thing, the gardener discussion list. So, yeah, let's throw over to Hank. What do you think, Hank, about creating a separate email list or some other way of talking with your active gardeners?
I think let's just go ahead and well, I was gonna say I think a separate email with the active gardeners sounds great, and also Jackie, you brought up the GroupMe app or some similar type of app for
or a Facebook discussion or something.
And I've had I've had some success with using like communication apps like Signal or GroupMe I've used in the past, and so I'm open to that too. I mean, it kind of comes down to whether we're doing a good job as gardeners and as members of being a part of the discussion, whether regardless of the forum, but maybe some of these are better at grabbing you. Some of the mediums for communicating are better at grabbing than others. Like if it dings a message up on your phone, maybe that is like something that we want to use as a benefit of GroupMe, let's say.
Yeah, I just find people
So
don't
I'm open
tend to engage as much in back and forth conversation via email, whereas some of these kind of messenger apps, you know, people are more willing to actually have a back and forth conversation, you know, because it's more like real time.
Yeah. I'm open to trying both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just an option. Like one of the new gardening group that I just joined, they're just using Facebook Messenger and they have a group chat on the Facebook Messenger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just a thread, and that's all they're using.
that
So
sounds great.
yeah, I'm just thinking maybe you might want to try something like that if they're not responding well to email. If you're finding that's happening, that maybe trying something else could work. Um, but yeah, I mean something that David's comfortable with too. That's why I mentioned Facebook, because I know he's already on there.
Yeah. So if you wanted to use something like Twitter, you would need to educate me before you did something like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, but you can just use like Facebook Messenger and have a group, you know, and you've got a small enough group right now that would actually make sense. So I mean that's just my suggestion.
yeah, and Chris and Alonzo both came through with Facebook, so they're both on there. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am willing to if David, if you're able to somehow forward me the names of the gardeners, I can friend request them and introduce myself and create a Facebook message group for the gardeners of the Cook and the Gardener project, if that would be helpful.
Yeah,
sure, we could try that.
it doesn't require anybody to download an app. So yeah, I mean, it's an easy thing to try. Okay, cool. So we got Christine back. Hello, Christine.
Yes, sorry guys, my network cut out. It's like Zoom knew I was about to go on a tangent and like shut me down.
Yeah, we were just discussing the gardener discussion list, and I had suggested just making a group chat on Facebook Messenger so they can have more of a back and forth conversation. Sounds like they might try that. Do you have any input on that, Christine?
No, I think that's great. Any tool to use to streamline communication is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, well, that was our last agenda item. Anything else tactical wise? We only have 3 minutes left.
Not from me.
Nothing? Okay, cool. Then we can just do a checkout. Yay. So let's start with Hank. Checkout.
Yeah. I'm grateful to meet with y'all today, and I feel like we have some actionable items, which is good for me to move forward. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling in a good place at the end of this meeting.
Awesome. Thanks. Christine.
I'm feeling good. I know what I need to do, which is, my biggest action item these days is the Living Systems Institute website, which reflects Cook and Gardener Project, or new name to TBD. I'm going to take that as an action item as well, is to think on that and come to the next meeting with some ideas.
And David?
If I could get 3 new gardeners excited about talking to new clients every 2 weeks, I would be a very happy camper. Because it's been a long time coming, and so I'm very pleased.
Yay! Yeah, I'm really excited you recruited more people, and I'm recruiting people too. We're all recruiting. It's spring. It's time to get going. Yay! Excited. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining me. Thank you anybody who's watching this. You can join us next time. We'll be streaming live. There is a calendar on my website at regenerativerevolution.org where you can see our upcoming streams, and you click on that. It'll bring you to the YouTube page where it's streaming to. So hope to see you soon and get you more people involved in the conversation. See ya.